Surprise eliminations happen all the time in Hell's Kitchen. However, most of the time, it takes place at the mid to late portion of the season, as whether it's an unfair elimination or the chef had an out of nowhere meltdown, the audience is a lot more connected to these chefs and have a better read on them as opposed to when the season is just getting started. But nonetheless, we definitely can get some pretty surprising early boots every once in a while in Hell's Kitchen, as a chef can look promising early on to out of the competition before you know it. What's going on, guys? I'm FlynnMasters, and today, we'll be looking at the most surprising early boots in Hell's Kitchen history. Be sure to subscribe and like for more fun HK content like this, and with that, let's take a look back at some shocking early eliminations in Hell's Kitchen.
Bloody hell, here I go again.
When analyzing these surprising early boots, I'll be looking at how the edit treated them, along with their talent and potential longevity in general, and thus, I believe Jessica from season 11 represents all those traits to a T. Despite a cast of 20 chefs, Jessica stood out from the pack right away with a great signature dish, and arguably being the best chef on the red team on opening night, leading them to victory. And yeah, I think it's safe to say that Ramsay would love to have a chick who can not only cook, but do one-arm freaking push-ups to run one of his restaurants. Jessica basically had it all on paper. The only thing that she didn't have was the experience, and this came back to bite her after she was put up for elimination after the third service for that very reason. However, this is a classic storyline we see all the time in Hell's Kitchen, going all the way back to Julia in season 3, as a chef who clearly has talent is underestimated by their team due to the lack of cooking experience. You would think this would set up Jessica for an underdog run to not only prove everyone wrong, but be a fan favorite of the season. But that just simply didn't happen. In fact, Jessica was pretty invisible up until her episode 7 boot, as she wasn't great obviously, but didn't do anything too bad up until her boot episode, having a horrible night on fish. But even then, you would think that Ramsay would spare her over the 51-year-old Ray, as obviously Ramsay would never allow someone that old to win, and he had literally been put on probation this very episode, and only earned his jacket back not due to anything he personally did, but due to the fact that the blue team won that episode's reward challenge. So yeah, not only did Jessica have a lot going for her on paper, but she had some great moments as a chef, and could have been an amazing underdog this season, and in retrospect, could have very easily survived over Ray due to her potential, but in the end, Jessica would go down as one of the more forgettable chefs from this season.
Jessica, give me your jacket, please. Your time is done in Hell's Kitchen. I'm not feeling it. I haven't got any more patience. Thank you.
During this experience, I tried to stay very confident and very strong, and that came across as not passionate. I guess I just didn't put up enough fight for Chef Ramsay to believe in me.
When Jessica first arrived, I had high expectations for her. Unfortunately, she let us both down.
In my unfair eliminations video, I briefly touched upon how shocking to me Ashley's elimination was in season 13, and now it's time to go even more in depth on that today. Similar to Jessica, her premiere could not have gone much better, as she also had a good signature dish, but most importantly, she and Latasha, the winner of this season, were highlighted as the main chefs in the Red Kitchen to not only lead them to victory, but to put on the best opening night service in Hell's Kitchen history. Now, to be fair, she was pretty forgotten about for the next couple of episodes, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, as while yes, in a perfect world, she would be highlighted even more, it's better to be invisible than to be shown making mistakes. However, eventually her mistakes did start to pile up, as in the 6th service, she would get thrown out of the kitchen after having to take over the fish station due to Katie and Ro getting thrown out earlier, and thus, that's pretty easy to forgive. Her first true bad service came during the 7th service, as she struggled once again on the fish, but even then, it wasn't an atrocious service by any means, and I think most would agree Ro and Jennifer had just as bad nights, if not worse. And not only that, but next to her for elimination that night on the blue side was Aaron and Steve, who had made far more mistakes than Ashley. So not only had Ashley shown a lot of promise, but she had objectively done the least amount wrong compared to the other 3 chefs staying next to her that night for elimination. And yet, she would be the one to go home? I guess her plea wasn't great, and Ramsay wanted to keep Aaron and Steve around for just a bit longer, as they were pretty much the only drama starters this season. But man, it really seemed Ashley went home due to something we weren't truly shown, because she simply should not have gone home this early.
I didn't expect to get eliminated tonight because people have done way worse in this competition than I have. But, I mean, Chef Ramsay obviously just thought that I wasn't good enough.
Arguably the first surprising early boot in Hell's Kitchen history was Melissa in season 3, but for today, we'll be talking about another Melissa, with that being season 22's Melissa. Not only did she just simply seem like a potential winner candidate on paper, but she would win the punishment pass for the red team, which usually means you're in it for the long run, with Cyan in season 19 being the only chef to not earn a black jacket after winning this pass. However, she would cause some controversy within the red team, as she would cause Confettigate, getting the ire from her teammates after she lied to Christina about the dining room being free of confetti.
Is that it for confetti? 100%, that's it for confetti.
Yes, Chef.
Ladies, What happened?
No.
Oh, hell no. Because
Yeah.
there's tape on that table right there, too.
Yeah, there's tape on
That's
that table.
Let me see what's in your hand. Because if that's not tape, we're going to have an issue, Melissa. Is it tape or confetti? Tell me. Was it confetti? I got to dump a bag. I should dump them all. Would any of you guys have lied to me over a piece of confetti?
No.
She lied?
It did seem like tape.
Oh, damn.
I was trying to take one for the team, and everyone else was taking one for themselves. So noted, and going forward, that's what it'll be, everyone for themselves.
Now, while this is obviously a bad look for Melissa, TV-wise, this is perfect, as not only would the animosity between her and her teammates be great for television, but more than likely, she would use her punishment pass during the most brutal punishment as a way to get back at her teammates, which again, is exactly the type of moments production lives for. And not only that, but during her boot episode, she would go home standing next to Sandra, who had been one of the weakest chefs in the competition up until that point, and Melissa would go home for a lack of communication, as opposed to Sandra's terrible night on the fish. Now, obviously a lack of communication is not good, but usually this early in the competition, Ramsay's more forgiving of that, especially compared to cooking mistakes, and will give a chef one more chance to prove themselves, especially when it's a chef who has shown a ton of promise like Melissa. And again, you would think the possibility of Melissa being a drama starter and the punishment pass storyline would ironically save her. But no, Melissa would go home with that punishment pass over Sandra, who did not have much potential at all. Again, I'm not saying this is an unfair elimination by any means, but when you factor in all the circumstances, it is definitely a shocking one.
You're disappearing. The competition's leaving you behind. I need all of you to start stepping up quickly. You're not doing that. Please give me your jacket. Melissa's drive completely disappeared, so I made her disappear from this competition.
At number 2 is their first ever returning chef in Hell's Kitchen history in Robert in Season 6. Now yes, Robert wasn't exactly a dominant chef by any means in Season 5, but he obviously could handle his own, and barring him just completely flaming out during the Black Jackets, more than likely, he would have made it to the final 3, and any chef that can battle it out against Danny and Paula deserves some massive respect. And of course, the big time advantage of coming back, especially in a show like Hell's Kitchen, is not only do you have the experience, and will likely be more prone to handle the stress better, but you know what Ramsay is like, you have a better idea of how Ramsay wants the kitchen run, and in general, you just simply have the advantage over the other chefs who are doing this for the first time. So between Robert being a good chef combined with his massive advantage coming in, you would think he'd be alive to make a deep run once again. However, Robert just simply seemed like a different person this season, as not only did his mistakes pile up, but his attitude took a massive shift this season as well. And after competing in only 5 dinner services, he would get eliminated over Andy after his first time up for elimination. Now in hindsight, I guess you could argue that Robert would always be on thin ice compared to the newbies given his high expectations, but he really had not done much better than Andy at all. And I don't think you'll find many people who would argue this decision. While Robert was obviously never winning this season, I don't think anyone would have thought he wouldn't even make it past the top 10, given this golden second chance.
Robert, take your jacket off. And the reason being, big boy, you've had more services in Hell's Kitchen than any of these. Last dish you sent me this evening, it was raw.
But you'll see me again as a chef, you know it.
I can't wait to see you again. And thank you for trying.
Thank you. I damn sure say that Gordon Ramsay and Hell's Kitchen changed my life for the better. And they better watch out, because 3 times is the charm.
But tied for number 1 is both T and Kevin coming from Hell's Kitchen Rookies vs. Veterans. Yeah, I know I'm being the dead horse with this one, but come on, these back-to-back eliminations still don't seem right to this day. Not only were T and Kevin both former runner-ups, but one could argue that they're literally the 2 greatest runner-ups in the show's history. And yet, they would both go home super early, being the 3rd and 4th boot respectively. And here's the thing, it's not like Ramsay was being hard on the veterans and eliminated them somewhat unfairly. Both of them just simply didn't have it this season, as their hearts just didn't seem fully invested this time. Truly the most shocking early boots in the show's history.
8 long years I've been chewing on this. I came back for redemption. I already run several restaurants right now. So he's right, I didn't have that fire.
Kevin getting eliminated this early, a chef of his caliber, it is a wake-up call for everyone to get their together, or you could be next.
T, take off your jacket, young lady. You're a bloody good chef, but right now, T, I've got 11 chefs behind you that are performing better.
Thank you, chef.
Good night.
Whoa. I would have, in fact, bet my life that T was going to be in a black jacket. First Kevin, and now T. Are you kidding me?
So there you have it, guys, my picks for the most shocking early boots in Hell's Kitchen history. Let me know what early boots surprised you the most in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe and like to support the channel, and I'll get you more fun HK content just like this. With all that said, take care everyone, and I'll see you next time.
Get out of there.